Most companies don't have a revenue problem. They have a structural integrity problem. I'm David Figueroa, president of Primetime Systems. This is the Revenue Integrity Gap, where executive leaders get honest about what's actually breaking underneath the growth. Let's get into it. A year ago, the conversation in every boardroom was about adopting AI. Today, that conversation is quieter and even more uncomfortable because the AI, it got adopted. Sales has 3 tools, marketing has 5 tools, finance is running its own co-pilot. And by the way, legal's banned 2 of them. And nobody, anywhere, can tell you what any of that has changed. Today, I want to talk about a pattern I'm seeing in every organization I walk into. And almost no one is calling it out loud. It's called AI sprawl. And it might be the most expensive problem that most companies don't know they even have. We work with CEOs, CROs, CFOs, revenue leaders inside companies that are growing very fast. And they're finding out that growth alone isn't the win that they thought it would be. Most of what we do lives in the intersection of 3 things: revenue governance, behavioral intelligence, and what happens when AI gets ahead of the operating model. And what we've been seeing across PE-backed scale-ups, founder-led companies, public companies, it's the same pattern. Different industries, same diagnosis. And that's why this show exists. The Revenue Integrity Gap, where revenue, leadership, and AI collide. This is the first of 3 short episodes. We call them preludes. And then we're going to go into a main season. And that opens with a CEO or CRO, an executive leader who has lived in this firsthand. Today, we start with one question I get asked about the most: AI sprawl. Here's what AI sprawl actually looks like. It's not what the vendor decks make it look like. That's a sales pitch. In real time, a CRO tells you with full confidence that that sales team is using AI. And then when you ask which tool, they name you one. Then you go talk to the regional vice president, and they name a different one. And by chance, you go talk to 3 reps, and they're each running their own. None of them are the ones that their leaders named. It looks like a CFO, discovering finance and marketing and product, have separately bought a transcription tool. All 3 of them are running successfully. All 3 are paid for, but yet none of them talk to each other. The customer calls, the internal meetings, the strategy reviews, the QBRs, they're all now sitting in 3 different places, indexed by 3 different models, with no shared retention policy and no governance owner. It looks like a CEO asking a simple question: what did AI change for us this quarter? And getting 4 different answers from 4 different functions, none of them of which reconcile. That's AI sprawl. Now, it's not a tooling problem, and it's not a budgeting problem. It's a fragmentation problem at the level of decisions themselves. And here's what makes it different from anything that came before. Tool sprawl, that fragmented the operating model. People had to do extra work to reconcile what the systems were telling them. Excel sheets pulling out data. Now there's data lakes. AI sprawl is now fragmenting decisions because the AI is not just storing data anymore, it's interpreting it, recommending an actions, even sometimes fulfilling the action. And when 6 different models are interpreting 6 different slices of the same business, you no longer have one source of truth. You have 6 versions of them, none of which are aligned. So why is this happening faster than tool sprawl ever did? 3 simple reasons, but yet complicated in the same. 1, the decision to buy is completely different. Tool sprawl, well, that required you to make an analysis, a business plan, a procurement conversation, another line item in the P&L, something that IT had to review for security, but yet all of this created some friction. AI, on the other hand, doesn't. The seller signs up for an AI assistant on Tuesday, and by Thursday, it's writing their follow-up emails, summarizing their phone calls, and it's shaping which deals they prioritize. Perhaps some approval, most likely not. And that seller's behavior has already changed. Now multiply that by 30 people, by 100, and that is when AI sprawl takes place with no one seeing it. The second reason, peer pressure has changed. Every executive listening to this, regardless of what seat you're sitting in, has been in a meeting within the last 12 months where someone in the room, a board member, an investor, a peer, a colleague, has said something along the lines of, "What's your AI strategy?" Immediate reflex for most of the leadership team is to run pilots, and lots of them, and not just in one place, across every function, so that when the next question comes up, they have something to actually point to, something referenceable. Now, that's not really a strategy. That's a defensive activity. And quite frankly, that is how you end up with a proof of concept graveyard. 15 pilots. Some of them worked, but probably very few of them in actual production. But yet all of them still costing you money. Reason 3, the cost structure hides. Old enterprise software, what some people are already calling legacy, it shows up as a line item in your P&L. You can see it very clearly. You can question it. You can unpack it. You can look at the value that you're receiving from it. AI, it shows up as a usage charge on a credit card bill, or it's buried in a SaaS bill that you've already paid, or in even some outliers, it shows up as a free tier of a tool that just absorbed your sensitive data in exchange for not charging. Now that cost is very real, but the visibility isn't. And what you cannot see, you cannot govern. So when I say AI sprawl is a tool sprawl with higher IQ and lower visibility budget, that's exactly what I mean. It moves faster, it costs more, and it makes decisions that humans used to make. And not all that is bad, but all of that is under the floor of the executive team's awareness. And herein lies our challenge. Let me explain myself a bit more about how this shows up in the actual numbers. First place, and the clearest place, is forecast integrity. If your sellers are using AI to draft outreach, your AI is shaping the conversations as they happen. If your CSMs are using AI to summarize calls, your AI is shaping which signals get escalated. If your finance team is using AI to model scenarios, then your AI is actually shaping the numbers, that of which reach your board. If your finance team is using AI to model different scenarios, your AI is actually shaping which numbers you represent to the board. Now, I'm not saying all that is bad, but what I am saying is that none of those AIs are talking to each other. So when the forecast actually misses, you can't reverse engineer why. Very hard to peel back the onion if the knowledge sits in silos. Now, you used to be able to. You had a chain of human decisions that you could actually walk back, ask questions, dig deep, and create narratives around those answers. But now you have a chain of AI-shaped behaviors that have been distributed across tools, quite frankly, no one owns. Now, some of you are a little bit more sophisticated and perhaps have an AI staff, but that still does not erode the problem. The problem is not a reporting problem. It's not the fact that you're deploying AI. It's a governance problem. Now, the second place, institutional memory. So every department that's running their own AI, they're building basically their own knowledge base. Sales has one version of AI that works for them. Fantastic. Marketing has another that is getting really, really deep numbers, higher MQLs. And now customer success is deploying it in their own world, making sure that the customers are getting reactive timing and proactive communication in real time. Now, that's 3 versions. Now, when one person who has shaped that AI or that tool, they leave the company, yeah, I promise you, they will. Someone will leave. That institutional memory walks out with them because the AI captured their thinking, their behaviors, their stylistic communication preferences, and that was never connected to anyone else's. So now what you realistically have is not one company anymore. You have a federation of departments that each own their AI-assisted operating model. And a question you should think about is how much governance did you have to influence how those operating models think? Now, the third place, and this one should keep you up at night if you're in leadership. Every time an executive asks a question, and gets 4 different answers from 4 different functions, that trust will erode. And not in the AI, in each other. Because what people start to believe is that the other function is somehow gaining the numbers or defending a narrative that is perhaps not contextually proper. The truth is actually quieter. Each function is honestly reporting what the AI told them to report. And it's not the people that disagree, it's the AIs that disagree. But that political damage that you already caused is very real. Here's the line that I want you to remember from this episode. If you rolled out AI, let's just say as an organization, Copilot, every department bought in. But did they buy into the operating model of how you use Copilot? Because quite frankly, most times we see that nobody bought into an operating model. So if you're a CEO, CRO, VP of sales, COO, listening to this, here's the move that I would recommend in the next 30 days. Now, it's not a strategy. It's not a committee. It's not countless team meetings or Zoom meetings. It's one question asked across every function of your business. You ask them, list every AI tool you're using. Who pays for it in your department? What data does it touch? And what decision is it influencing? That's it. Sounds like 3 questions into one, but it's actually one question. Now, when you get your responses, don't judge what you find. Just study it. Look at it. Think about it. What most leadership teams do that I've seen deploy this exercise, they typically have the same reaction. They're quiet. Some of them are shocked. After that, and the realization takes place, a long or perhaps a series of conversations begin to take place and shape. That and those conversations, that is what starts governance. That is where you start to get your operating model back. You start to get control of what is uncontrolled. Next episode, we're going to talk about something even harder to see. Not the tools, the behaviors. Because while AI sprawl is fragmenting your decisions, something else is happening underneath it. The technology is starting to track behavior. And not only that, it's shaping it quietly and in real time. And not many people are actually thinking through to what that is doing to the people who actually drive revenue. Thanks for tuning in to the Revenue Integrity Gap. If this hits home, share it with one executive in your network who needs to hear it. That's how this show grows. This episode is brought to you by Prime Time Systems, where we help revenue organizations close the gap between growth and governed execution. Find out more at prime-timesystems.com. I'm David Figueroa, and I'll see you next time.